Alright, it's been a while since the last Q&A video. So people just asked me questions on both my Patreon and Instagram. So the first question is, do you feel that you have reached your peak strength for weightlifting? No, like for the snatch, I feel like I'm certainly approaching my limit though. Like before, I actually put a limit on myself, just based on what weightlifters did in the past and what they're doing now. Like before, I thought 190 snatch was like around my limit, but when I met Gabriel, like he casually just said to me, I'm capable of snatching 200 and clean jerking 240 kilos. And hearing that from an accomplished weightlifter and not some like random person online, like it really changed my perspective on like how much I'm able to lift. Like my clean and jerk is definitely behind my snatch. Like I'm definitely capable of doing a lot more in that lift. The jerk is the limit. But saying I haven't reached my peak or I'm capable of lifting more, like it doesn't mean I'll actually do 200 and 240 in the future. Like I'll only progress if I train hard and train smart and avoid injuries for years. Like not everyone reaches their absolute peak. Some of them just don't train hard enough, or some of them just get injured and they never reach their peak performance. Like I don't even know if I'll reach my absolute limit, because for me at this point it's not worth training super hard for years, because eventually I'll get to the stage where I'll just improve my snatch by like a kilo a year, and like such hard training like that for like a very small reward, it's not worth it for me. But right now I'm still focusing on weightlifting, so I'll see where I go. What do you genuinely think your chances are of beating Toshiki? Like I really don't know. But right now Toshiki is definitely ahead of me. He's a lot stronger at the moment. Like I was very strong at the start of this year, in January, but recently my training for the past 2 months has been pretty bad. It's a real shame, but I'm trying my best and hopefully things will get better soon. But maybe Toshiki will try to hip thrust 400 kilos and I don't know, he'll probably injure himself, so that'll give me some time to catch up. How much did your carpet gym cost? It's very cheap. Like a lot of people think you need to spend a lot of money or have a lot of space for a home gym. Like I don't have a lot of space at all in this house. And I would say everything I have just cost over 1,000 euros. It's hard to say now because I've had like the same equipment for like almost a decade actually. The bar is like 10 years old, I think, at this point. But if someone wanted like a decent setup with like 180 kilos of weights, let's say, you could probably get everything you need for 600 euros. Obviously, it depends on like where you live and if things are in stock. But if you're really struggling to find gym equipment, just check eBay. There's like a bunch of people like selling homemade gym equipment. It's hilarious. You see people like selling concrete weights on eBay. What is your ethnic background? A lot of people actually ask this. I'm half Irish, half Filipino. And another question I get asked a lot is, are you still vegan? Yes, of course I am. I always will be. And a question people like ask me daily, it's very controversial, but I guess I'll just answer it here. What's your top 3 anime? I'd say number 3 is Dragon Ball Kai, which is a re-release of Dragon Ball Z. Like it has better voice acting and cut out all like the filler. A lot of people don't like it actually, but I really liked it. I wouldn't say like the whole Dragon Ball series is like objectively one of the best animes out there. Like there's definitely loads of problems with it, but it's one of my personal favorites. Number 2 is a series like I bet no one has ever heard of. It's called From the New World. Definitely one of the most underrated animes out there. Has like really good world building, excellent storyline, and it has a great ending, which is like very rare in any type of media. And number 1, of course, has to be Attack on Titan. Like I've been following Attack on Titan since it came out in 2009, 2010. It started out as a really good anime, and it just built up to become a masterpiece. Like, even though it gets a load of hype, like it totally deserves it. And the final chapter, the manga, is actually coming out next month, so it'll be exciting to see how it all ends. Are you Natty? No. What made you decide to record yourself at 12 years old? Many people don't know, but I've actually been uploading videos since 2006. Like, making videos and samplers has always been a popular thing in the parkour and tricking community. Like, people were uploading videos before YouTube existed. How much longer do you think you'd be lifting for? For health reasons and like general fitness, I hope to be lifting for as long as possible. But how long I'll be like lifting to, improve my snatch, clean, and jerk, to work on weightlifting. I don't think it'd be for much longer. I'm approaching my limit on like both the snatch and clean and jerk. So would it really be worthwhile to get to the point where I'm literally adding a kilo onto my snatch like once per year? For me, like, it's definitely not. So eventually I'll transition to powerlifting, which is always something I wanted to focus on, but it interfered with weightlifting, so I didn't do it. Like, what would be more entertaining for me? Like, to add a kilo onto my snatch in a year, or add 20 kilos onto my bench in a year? Like, of course, I don't plan on completely giving up weightlifting. Like, I'll still do it and maintain it at a certain level, but like pushing for PRs up to a certain point is not worth it for me. Like, at this point in my training, it's just hard to maintain my snatch 10 kilos below my max, and increasing it beyond my max like requires a lot of training and hard work. Do you have a mobility routine, and what does your warm-up usually look like? I don't have a mobility routine, and I just warm up by snatching or doing like whatever exercise I plan first. I don't do any stretches or foam rolling. I never have, really. Of course, I don't recommend doing this. Like, if you're a beginner weightlifter, you might like have to work on mobility for an entire session. Should you focus a lot on upper body training as an Olympic lifter? How much you need to do and what kind of upper body training, like, depends really. Like, for example, if you're coming from powerlifting and you have a huge base of upper body strength, then you won't need to do a lot of like upper body training to like increase your upper body strength. But you'd still need to practice like getting into the positions required for Olympic lifting. They'd need to do like upper body exercises like push press, snatch grip press, to learn how to get the bar back, and practicing like fast and solid lockouts, something that powerlifters probably didn't practice when they did powerlifting. Another example is female lifters. Like, I think female lifters need to do a lot more upper body training than male lifters, and you really see the opposite. Like, how many videos, like training videos, are out there with male lifters doing upper body specific exercises like compared to female lifters? Like, you never see videos of female lifters doing bicep curls when like they're the ones that need to be doing them. There's plenty of guys out there that can casually bench 80 kilos and curl heavy dumbbells for reps. Like, if a woman had that base of strength, their potential to snatch and clean and jerk bigger weights would be way higher. Why do people rush the sport and try to make huge PRs while sacrificing technique? It's because people can reward themselves with bad technique. Like, people see the increase in numbers as progress when it probably doesn't mean much. Like, bad technique like develops bad habits, which can take time to correct. So it's probably a bad thing. Like, if you muscle up 100 kilos in the clean, like day one in the gym, like, that doesn't mean you're far ahead of the average person starting out. Like, it might take you an entire year to clean and jerk the same weight with proper technique. Like, people have to see their progression with technique as progress and not get too caught up with numbers, because they really don't matter at the start. Like, people tend to be obsessed with rushing through the process, like trying to progress as fast as possible while not working on the basics. And this doesn't just apply to weightlifting. Like, instead of trying to learn something as fast as possible, It's a better mindset to learn something as slowly as possible and sticking with the basics for longer than you think you should. So instead of someone setting a goal to clean and jerk 100 kilos after 3 months of training, they should set a goal to clean and jerk with good technique after 3 months of training, ignoring the numbers. Do you think strength gains go hand in hand with gaining weight? Or can you have serious strength improvements without gaining much mass? In simple terms, yes. Like if you gain more weight by gaining more muscle mass, it will increase your potential to get stronger. Like an increase in muscle size leads to an increase in strength. But keep in mind, especially for Olympic lifting, like that increase in strength doesn't mean an increase in numbers, believe it or not. Like a good example is comparing myself in the past when I was first able to clean and jerk 220 kilos. My back squat, Paul's back squat, was 280 kilos at the time. After that, I gained quite a bit of weight, gained muscle mass, and my strength numbers went up for sure. My Paul squat went up to 310 kilos, so 30 kilos above my previous PR. But my clean and jerk actually decreased. I struggled to clean and jerk even 210 kilos, like 10 kilos below my max. So to progress beyond 220 kilos, I actually had to lose muscle mass to improve my speed and mobility, both of which are important for Olympic lifting. So being lighter and actually able to lift more despite having less muscle mass and less strength. And this can apply like to powerlifting too, like comparing the heavyweights to super heavyweights. The difference in their deadlifts isn't that large. And when you gain weight, you'll find your technique like needs to change, which can take a while to adapt to. Like, of course, this doesn't apply to most people though. You'll have to gain mass as you progress through the sport. You can't make dramatic gains in strength without gaining more muscle. The best tip you had for improving split jerk, as I know that's the lift you consider the hardest out of the three. The most important thing was focusing on the drive. Like when I coached people in the past, I always had to emphasize the amount of effort you need to put into extending your legs as hard as possible and as fast as possible. Like that's ultimately where the power comes from in the jerk. Like when people max out in a push press, they have to rely on the power in the legs to make the lift. You see them driving their legs as hard as possible. A lot of times you just don't see that amount of effort in the jerk, and like I'm guilty of this. Obviously, like there's a lot more to the jerk technique, but just focusing on this has helped my jerk the most. So that's pretty much it for the Q&A. Thanks for watching. I might upload another video before the end of the month, so stay tuned for that.